Welcome to Entreprogrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, wow, you sound terrible. By the way, we're live already. I clicked the button prematurely, so.
That sounds terrible.
You're sounding better now.
Is it coming through?
Yes,
Okay,
now you're coming through. Check. There you are.
But it's coming through my webcam.
I'm
I just
using
switched the
AirPod.
input.
Yeah, John, you sound pretty mechanical.
It might be the connection or it might be AirPods. iPhone with AirPods, so it should, but it is Hangouts, so.
Okay. Well, this will be an adventure.
Off my wireless. So let me try that and see if my super fast Italian data is better.
All right, I'm going to cheat. And I'm just going to talk and it'll pick it up on the webcam because I don't know what changed over here.
Okay.
And I don't want to troubleshoot
Is that any better? Am I any better here?
I don't know. It's not horrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The video quality is pretty bad, but
I was going to say your video is really grainy, but
you could even turn off the video potentially.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me see. Well.
Yeah, but he's in Italy, so he has to talk with his hands.
Exactly.
But I.
All right. Well, we're live, so we can just.
I gotta tell you about the scam at the airport in Italy.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Because I bought a SIM card for my phone for data here. And so as soon as you get off the airplane, you know, the first thing I think is, okay, I need to get a SIM card so I can get fast data because I've got a T-Mobile card which gives me like 2G access, like 256K, which is slow. Right? You could it's kind of nice to have because you can like do some basic stuff. Like you're not ever totally without internet. But so I immediately see this booth for internet access, right? And so, you know, I go up there and I'm like, quanta costa? And she's like, 260 euro for a month of data, unlimited data. Or like, it wasn't even unlimited. And I was like, I just came from Switzerland, you know, one of the most expensive countries in the world. And I was like, it was like, I paid $80 for unlimited data in Switzerland. And I think the guy ripped me off. So are you sure it's 260 euro for data? And she's like, oh yeah, it works all in Europe. And I'm like, yeah, I smell a rat. So I leave and go, you know, and there's another booth like later in the airport, same company. And so I was like, oh, let me ask them. Same price sheet, same thing here. And I was like, I was thinking about I kind of know like the prices in Italy. I mean, a taxi from the train station was like €7 to go like, you know, 5 miles or something like that. It's cheap, right? So, and I you know, like a panini is like $3.50. Like, so I don't know, because this is ridiculous, right? So then I found a store here, and I asked, you know, so for it's like, I think it was €7. Now you have to buy and activate the SIM card, which is €30. Granted, that's fine, right? So I bought a 60 gigabyte plan, as they say here, and it was I think €10 for 60 gigabytes.
Oh man,
for a month, and then of course the activation of like $30. So like ridiculously rip off price at the airport. So there's a lesson if you want to get a SIM card and you're going to another country, make sure you don't buy it at the airport. Apparently, so.
Yeah, well, they assume that you're a tourist and that you have no idea. But yeah, When I lived in Italy 20 years ago, wow, it's been a long time. I didn't realize. Anyway.
I don't think they had SIM
Chuck's
cards.
just gonna go hang up and feel old now.
Yeah, I am. Anyway, no, they didn't. But if you wanted to get a deal on like phone, anything, I mean, you'd go to the newsstand and you'd spend $5 and you'd get one that would give you a zillion minutes. So we would just buy them there, and so yeah, that makes sense. You know, get out away from the get out away from the airport and the tourist traps.
Chuck's gonna start telling his stories. It's gonna be quando in Italia fa 20
Tanto tempo fa.
anni.
Yeah.
We used to walk 20 miles in the snow in the Colosseum.
I have no idea, but we did. We walked a lot with missionaries there. But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking for a Palestra, but every single one is closed. Like I didn't realize August. Like apparently in August in Italy.
Oh yeah.
Everyone
Ferié
just
d'Agosto. Everybody goes on vacation.
They're just they all close. Like you're like okay, so like there's like maybe 5 or 6 gyms in the area, and they're all Kyuzu, right? Kyuzu.
QZ. Well, QZ. Yeah, Kyuzo. They'll all say Kyuzo, but yeah.
Yeah, QZ, multiple. So yeah, so tutti QZ. And it's mean, and all kinds of stores, like it's like everyone closes, like big gyms too, right? It's like it's not like just like a mom and pop shop. I mean, they're like everyone's closed until summer is over. So I'm getting pretty frustrated trying. I had to like improvise and like go to the park and like do pull-ups and used to totter with kids sitting on it.
He was launching 8-year-olds halfway across Venice.
Yeah, we would meet people from all over Italy because the first year I was there in August, I was in Ancona, which is right on the coast. And typically what people do is for Ferie d'Agosto, they take off for August and they go to the coast. They go to the beach. And so we would meet people from all over the place. But yeah, half the town closes down if you're not in one of those areas.
It's kind of good in a way. Like we went to the Colosseum yesterday and stuff. And I think, I mean, it just seems to me like the crowds are not what I've seen on TV, right? It's like, I feel like it's like maybe a third of the crowd that you would see in July or June or something like that. So in that way it's good, but man, it's getting really frustrating. Like I'm trying to like, you know, you look on Google, it's open and they have these signs and you know that say it's when it's going to open again. And then I walked to like 5 gyms the other day on Saturday, and then I walked to a gym today that's supposed to be open. It wasn't open. And so I'm hoping after this call, I'm going to go to this other one. I tried to call them and no one answers the phone. So it's like, but
that's funny.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool though. I've definitely enjoyed. I've been forcing myself to solamente parlare italiano in mentre qui, or mentre sono qui. So that probably sounds like hick English, but I've basically been forcing myself to speak Italian while I'm here.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, as much as possible. And so it's been interesting. I negotiated a SIM card purchase. I've negotiated some food at different places, and it's funny because a lot of the places, especially the touristy places, they know that I speak English. And so they're speaking English to me, and I'm like, nope, I'm only speaking Italian. So they're like getting frustrated, and I'm, but the very touristy places, they're like pissed off. They're like, just fucking speak English, dude. Like, but the places that are a little bit more off the beaten path, it's amazing how friendly people get when you're trying to speak their language, and you know what I mean. So it's kind of cool, but it's such a different experience because I've been practicing Italian every single day for over 5 months now. So I'm finally putting it into use. And I do wish though that I had 6 more months and I could have because I'm planning on hiring a private tutor, like to do lessons like 2 or 3 times a week, because there's a big difference between doing the lessons. Like, I mean, now you're saying them with the language courses, but you know, like the first day or two it was very awkward to try and speak Italian. Like you just feel so weird trying to speak another language. And now it's like I've gotten over that, and I can, you know, I just lack the vocabulary to express everything that I'd like to. I can only, you know, say simple things and understand them. But it'd be nice to be a little bit more conversationally fluent. You know, I'm good enough where I can, you know, I can ask for, I can buy bus tickets, I can buy food, I can ask where things are, you know, I can understand the responses, but I can't really express any kind of complex thoughts or anything like that. So.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, when I was in high school and junior high, I did French for like 5 years, and yeah, then whenever I speak it with somebody, it was weird. But Italian, you know, we kind of had a 2.5 month crash course, and then, you know, I just learned it out there speaking to people, and yeah, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, it's cool though. I'm enjoying it. It's like it's pretty. It definitely is more fun to travel when you can like kind of speak the language, because it's yeah, I don't know, it adds something to it, I think. So.
Yep.
John's going to go to negotiate another SIM card, and he's going to end up giving away half a simple programmer.
Exactly.
That's what happened to me. John thought he was getting a SIM card from me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you guys, how long are you guys there?
We're leaving Rome Sunday, and then staying there for like 3 days, and then going to Florence, and then Venice, Venezia.
Yeah.
Venezia.
Yep.
Until and that'll all end like on the 15th of September. We're flying back. So.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, so it'll be cool. It's been packed though. I've been trying to get. I need to get some emails answered and stuff, but it's crazy because I mean, you know, when it's nice to be in the place for 3 weeks at a time because then you got more time. But it's been kind of rush. So.
Yeah. Coolio, man. I really want to go back to Italy.
Yeah. Where were you staying mostly when you were here?
So I started out in Arezzo, which is about an hour and a half by train from Firenze, from Florence.
Yeah.
And then I got transferred out to Ancona, which is out on the Adriatic coast.
Right.
It's not really close to anything that anyone would have heard of from the U.S. It's way down the coast from Venice. And then my next city was Verona, and you know, so you get to see all the tourist traps around like Romeo and Juliet and all that stuff. So yeah, I've seen you know, Juliet's balcony and rub Juliet's breast on the statue and all the stuff that you do there. And then my last area was in Pordenone, and there's actually an air base, so anyone familiar with the Air Force, there are a whole bunch of Air Force folks stationed out in Aviano, which is close to Pordenone. Pordenone is about an hour and a half away from Venezia, from Venice. So,
okay.
And that was my last area. It was 5 months, 5 months, 5 months, and then 7 months. And I was 7 months in Pordenone. Wow. Okay. And so, yeah, so we'd make it into Firenze semi-often, and you know, go shop the open market and we went up into the cupola, which is the dome on the cathedral. You can also go up in the bell tower. We never did that. And I never did make it over to like the Uffizi Gallery or anything, and I kind of regret that. I keep hoping I can go back and check it out. But when I was in Pordenone, we'd go into Venezia like every other week. Just because as missionaries, you get basically a day off to do your laundry and everything else. And so we'd get all that stuff done, go shopping in the morning, and then we'd go down to Venezia for the afternoon. Because we just sit on the train for an hour and, run around and then make sure we're home before our curfew. And so, yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of Venice. And cool town. It's fun place to go visit.
Yeah, so far my favorite my favorite food is the cornettos.
The what?
The cornettos. The stuffed croissants. The you know what I mean? Those. Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't found the pasta I found is cooked, the noodle, but I haven't found it to be much more impressive than what you could get at a good Italian restaurant in the United States. Same with the gelato. Actually, the best gelato I had was in Geneva. Geneva, Switzerland was the best so far. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love gelato.
Anything I've got to try while I'm here in Italy?
I'm trying to think. I mean, most of the stuff that you can get there, you can get here. It's just going to be a little bit different, flavor, a little bit more traditional. One thing you should do is ask some of the locals what the local specialty is, because each area has its own local specialty. That'll be different from what you get anywhere else. And I don't know what the specialties are in Lazio, which is the area that Rome's in. So,
specialità de localta or
I would just, I would just talk to people and just say, what food should I get that is especially Roman?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah,
I think there was a certain like macaroni that I got at one of the restaurants because it said local, like Roman local.
Yeah. So like in Arezzo, it was, you would get the Tuscan bread, which they cook without salt, and then the traditional way to eat that is to drizzle olive oil over it and then sprinkle salt on it. So good. And then the other thing is that there it was tagliatelle, which is the egg noodles.
Yep.
And so it, was a different kind of pasta, was kind of their specialty. Ancona, I don't remember what their thing was. In Pordenone, it seemed like a lot of people were eating polenta, which is the corn mash. But anyway, so yeah, just ask around and see what people recommend.
Okay.
But yeah. Amazing stuff, though. Man, I miss Italy. Of course, when I go back, it's going to be way different from how it was before because, internet and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking, like, it must like 20 years is about, like, I think that, probably very few people spoke English 20 years ago. Probably, like, there wasn't all of the, just the connection, right? Of like most major European cities you go to today, they have the same stores as the U.S. Like it's become most of Europe has become like major cities have become just tourist destinations, really. Like it's the major economy of most major European cities. So it's kind of funny.
It was funny because we had our foreign exchange student come, and I was talking to her about what it was like in Ancona these days and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I remember we'd go into Florence or Venice, and we'd go to McDonald's, and it was kind of a treat. And she's like, oh yeah, they've got McDonald's everywhere now. Right? It was just weird to to think about, oh, okay, It's kind of, you know, the menu's a little bit different, but yeah, you know, you can go to McDonald's anywhere in Italy. And she's like, yeah, I think she said there were 2 of them in Ancona or around Ancona. I was just like, that is so weird to me. But, you know, just things like that. And then she also said, and this definitely wasn't the case when I was there, but English is basically a required course. It's required coursework for Italian students in basically junior high and high school.
Okay.
And
yeah, that makes sense.
But it wasn't the case when we were there. They could have their pick of languages. So that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah, see, I was wondering, it'd be kind of interesting to get around. I mean, like to try and get around and make it in like a European city without English speaker. You know what I mean? It's almost like nowadays, like it's just so easy because you have Google Translate and you've got like, I mean, you know, it'd be kind of more interesting and fun to like have to figure it out and communicate it.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, well, it was interesting too. I mean, my parents came to pick me up, and the language barrier for them was huge. And now I'm pretty sure almost anywhere you go, you could probably get by. I mean, they were fine when they were in Rome and Florence, but once they got out of the bigger cities, you know, nobody spoke English.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how things have changed. But yeah. Next year. We'll do that next year.
Yeah. Was it Anni Prossimo or?
Yeah, il prossimo anno. But anyway, so is Josh holding down the fort while you're gone? Is that the deal?
Well, last week no one was holding down the fort. We
Yeah.
just let the fort flap in the wind. Josh is back at the helm now.
Yeah.
Because Josh took a vacation.
Yeah, I was off. I took a whole week last week, which was interesting.
Simple Programmer took Ferie d'Agosto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, well, it was funny because we got an email from our book agent. We have this agent who is doing the international deals for us, and he emailed us with an update. He's like, by the way, like, we're not going to have a lot of updates for August because like basically all of Europe takes August off.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that. So that actually probably has some sales implications, I would imagine. It would be interesting to go back and look at our sales historically and see if we can see any dip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I took the whole week off, and John had actually got us. He and Heather got us a trip out to like an indoor water park in Sandusky, Ohio, this was the first time that we've traveled more than like an hour with our kids. So it was that was an adventure. It was only about 2.5 hours, but we stayed overnight in a hotel, which we haven't done before, and our youngest is just a little over 2, and so he's into everything. So he was just trying to tear up the hotel room. It was pretty funny. He took my wife's Kindle and he put it under the bed, and he was like at one point he disappeared. Like my wife was like, "Where is he?" And I was like, he just crawled under the bed." And he just like completely disappeared under the bed. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The kids had a lot of fun at the water park. It was nice because it was like, I described it to my wife. I was like, this is kind of like what Las Vegas is like, only for kids, because it was all like it was an indoor water park that was attached to a hotel so you didn't have to leave, with a restaurant, and like they had a video arcade and everything there.
Right.
And yeah, it was it was a lot of fun. But so at one point, my oldest, so I went back to the room to get something, and they were waiting in the lobby, and it's called the Great Wolf Lodge, and it's like, so it's rustic themed, and they have all these stuffed animals. They've got moose heads on the wall, and stuffed wolves and everything above the fireplace. And he was going around looking at all the animals. and my wife was explaining to him about like taxidermy and how they stuff the animals so that they look real. And then there's, John, I don't know if they had this, I think you guys have been at one, but they have like this animatronic show in the lobby, okay? So it's like all these
Okay.
mechanical puppets basically. And there was one of these puppets was like a little boy.
Oh.
He was down in the stump, kind of like in the stump. And then during the show, he pops up out of the stump and he talks and everything. And so my oldest is like, he's like, is that did they stuff him? Like they stuffed animals? He wasn't as disturbed by it as you would hope that he would be. He was pretty confused because they had like, you know, realistic looking hair and everything. So he's like, is that a stuffed boy? No. But yeah, I got to go. So they had, I think like maybe 6 to 8 nice big indoor water slides. So I got to go on those with my 2 older boys who are 5 and 6 right now. So they had fun. And the middle one, Jonah, he's the adventurous one. So a couple times Levi ended up bailing on me, and I ended up taking Jonah down. I was worried because like Jonah's not real big for his age, and the water's actually over his head in most places. So I was really worried that he was going to be freaked out and stuff. But he was like gung ho. He was like loved the inner tube slide. He went down that. And
oh, nice.
So,
that's cool.
So that was a ton of fun. And then go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, did he have like floaties or something? Does he swim?
Oh yeah, we put life jackets on him. So
I see.
So they were.
Okay.
But I mean, still those life jackets are actually like they're helpful because you're not going to drown, but they don't really help from a psychological point of view because they actually make it really easy for you to end up like face down in the water, and it's not always easy to get yourself righted if you don't know what you're doing. So and then our
especially
youngest,
when you get pushed. So.
Yeah.
From the force. I remember I went kayaking. Well, I went on this inflatable kayak with my friend, and I had a life jacket on. And when I fell into the tumblers in the white water, it did not feel like I had a life jacket on. I just got sucked right under the water like it was nothing.
So our youngest Zach he's just over 2, and he was initially so we kind of got off on a bad foot with him. So Lisa was holding him, and they have this big, in the center of the water park, they have this big structure, and at the top there's this bucket that probably, I don't know, holds like maybe a couple thousand gallons of water, and it fills up slowly and then it tips. So right as we got in there, the bell was going ding, 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 which we didn't know anything. We didn't know what that meant. And then Lisa kind of walked over to this little play area where there's like all these sprinklers and stuff. And then whoosh, this, 2,000 gallons of water comes roaring down on top of Zach. And he gets like hammered. It's like, welcome to the water park, Zach.
Nice.
So it took him like about a day and a half to recover from that. And by the time we left, though, he was playing in the kiddie pool and enjoying it. But he was pretty freaked out for the first day, especially.
That's nice.
So we did that, and then we got home, and then the next day, the kids are playing, and Jonah does like a flying sidekick and hits Zach in the knees, and then Zach couldn't walk. He was like, this was after the park. So like we're all worried about them in the park and everything, and then in our living room, Jonah kneecaps Zach. So we actually took him to the doctor and everything. We were worried that he had a fracture, but he's up and walking now. Then on Saturday, I guess it was, Levi headbutts my wife in the mouth accidentally.
Oh, no.
So yeah, it was really bad. She didn't have to get stitches or anything, but we thought she might. So it ended up being kind of stressful. But yeah, the trip was a ton of fun, and I'm definitely in the throes of like do I want to start a goat farm kind of mode, like not really wanting to get back into things. But
yeah,
I had almost 50 emails backed up, that like not 50 emails to go through, 50 emails that I needed to reply to. So I'm working my way through those, and
right.
So,
I
but
know it's amazing how much like there's a lot of stuff that comes through. Like there's a ton of email. I mean, right? It's like
yep.
you know,
I had
now you know what I'm talking about, Josh. It's
completely to zero. I was completely to zero, and I responded to a few things while I was off. But you know, I'm sure John gets like way more than I do. But
yeah,
and Rodrigo answers a lot of stuff. In fact, he answers more stuff than I'd like him to. Sometimes I'm like, you should just give that one to me. But then I'm like, no, I just like
Rodrigo's like, little does John's wife know, but
and but yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that comes through. I mean, even just in 1 week. So I'm stressed now because I'm like, I've got a ton of emails that I need to answer that. But I sent some of them to you, the ones that I could. But
yeah, I know.
A lot of stuff.
That's why I have 50 emails to answer.
And then
it's all John's fault.
Yeah.
And then there's all these ones that are like long ones that it's like you can't just answer it. Like we
You have
got
to-
an offer from Bluehost wants to like up our give us a higher commission, which we definitely want to follow up on, but it involves some like communication and work from us. Like we probably have to set up a call, or at least we got to like think it through. And like there's like stuff. Those are the ones that suck, because it's like you can't ignore it, and you can't just reply to it. It's like you've got to figure out what are you doing about it.
Yep.
And then we had like an offer from ZipRecruiters or something, and then another one from some others. I can't remember what it was. There's like a couple of opportunities that came through that those ones require more effort, but it's good because it's good stuff. But yeah.
Yep.
So since I was the only one that worked this week,
yeah.
Oh, you guys make me laugh. Actually, I did take a couple days off this last week.
So between the three of us, we have about 3 days worth of work.
Yeah, I worked 3 days, so yeah, that sounds all right. Yeah, so I put up on Facebook, I was like, hey, I've got to finish this course. I'm looking for a quiet place to work because, you know, my kids and everything. And anyway, and then I had, major freak out time last week. And I think I talked about that. So anyway, or the week before last, and I was completely shot, burned out. And so one of my friends got with me and said, hey, feel free to use my condo. So I said, well, can I just stay the night a couple nights and, kind of get some downtime? And she's like, sure. So I basically took 2 days off and just listened to some books and played games on my iPad and, relaxed for the most part. And then the rest of the week, I pretty much, I got to the point where I was like, you know what, I just need to plan my way through this and figure out what I'm going to do. So yeah, the rest of the week was just basically planning and trying to get a better handle around some of the sponsorship stuff. So I'm doing the 12-week year again. And so this is week 1. And so, yeah, I've got my whole plan set up, and I feel like I've kind of front loaded it, and I'm wondering if I've overloaded it in the front, but toward the end of the year, the 12-week year, I don't have as many things going. So some of it can bleed over to that, but some of it is because that I've got the 2 conferences. And so some of the stuff that I front loaded is stuff I have to get done before the conference, some of the marketing stuff and things like that. So anyway, I'm trying to figure all that out. And then this week was podcast movement. And I've gone to that every year for the last 3 or 4 years. And I actually have a ticket, but I can't afford to go to Anaheim. So I think I'm just going to miss it. Yeah. So I'm just going to make it worth missing, I guess, just get all the other stuff done. So anyway, I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not going to be able to go, but at the same time, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to get some stuff together so that I can at least make it to VMworld next week, because I've had a number of companies actually reach out and want to do one-on-ones with me to talk about their products and things. And I feel like some of them are applicable enough to where I think I can get some sponsorships from them and stuff. And since it's basically in my backyard in Las Vegas and I can get hotel rooms for super cheap in Las Vegas, I'm looking at doing that. So I've just got to get some sales going before then. I'm also working on, we have our old van, Dodge Grand Caravan, and I'm trying to get that running so that I can sell it. Because if I can sell it, then I'll have enough to, to pay for the trip. So just kind of crazy stuff there. And then, yeah, I keep switching systems on the sponsorship stuff. I don't know if I found one that I really like, but I had an Asana Trello type board set up for that, and I was just kind of tracking stuff through it. The problem is that it doesn't set things up so I can automatically set up a follow-up. And there are some CRMs out there that I think do that better. And so I went looking around, and I found a free CRM called Zoho. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I'm playing with their deals set up to see if that fits any better. I had another one called Nimble CRM.
Oh yeah, okay.
But they're kind of pricey for one, and they really weren't providing me with anything that I needed. So I
a good
canceled
combination for any business.
Yeah, so I canceled them. I used them for a couple of months because I was like, oh well, maybe it'll help me do some of the right things to make some of the connections I need to, and yeah, not really. So I canceled them. Zoho's free right now, and so I'm just fiddling with that, trying to see if it fits in, because you can set the follow-ups and it integrates with Zapier, so I'm hoping between the two I can just automatically set up the follow-ups that way. And then I'm just scheduling a time every week to get in and look at the deals and do the follow-ups. So anyway, I don't know. I haven't really found a CRM that I love. I've had a few people tell me, well, use HubSpot, or there's another one that people keep telling me to use, but HubSpot, I don't know.
HubSpot is really expensive, I think.
Like, they have a free tier, but I started looking at it and looking at what it would take to get up and running with it, and the features that I need, I had to have to pay for, and it wasn't within my budget, so definitely not doing that. But anyway, the other thing that's really frustrating about this is that I keep landing sponsors, but they're sponsors that can't or won't pay until September.
Oh, because they're just the way their quarterly billing works.
It's either the way their billing works, or they only pay like net 30 or net 45, or they want the sponsorship to start in September, and so that's when they want to pay.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it's been kind of interesting to get that all figured out, but yeah, anyway, so things are tight, but I know there's a bunch of money coming in September. September's also the month that I start doing the renewals with my current sponsors. And so, I'll be reaching back out to people, and I'll probably get a good chunk of change come in. But in the meantime, it's frustrating, because it's like, look, I'm going to go to this, I want to go to do these events so that I can make more contacts and line up more sponsors and, kind of take the business, along. And I feel like it's important, but at the same time.
This is like the worst time of year to have a money crunch.
Yeah. But the thing is,
I think it's also kind of the prime time of year to have a money crunch. Like, you're the most likely. This is when I hit the wall with my freelancing that first year. That was rough.
Yeah, and I think part of it's the market, but I really strongly hesitate to blame it on the market, because I hate having it outside of my control. And so for me, it's just well, I guess I need to work harder.
Well, it's both. It's you need more slack in the system, so that you absorb, because the hit's going to happen, but you need to have, the pipeline needs to have enough throughput that it doesn't matter.
The other thing is that I had sponsors for a lot of the summer, and so that wasn't the issue. The issue is that I spent the money before the summer. And so that's the other thing, is that I'm also looking at it, and basically I I've been reading some books that are kind of changing the way I'm thinking about a lot of this. One of them is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I'm reading it again, or I'm listening to it again. The other one is Profit First, and they recommend that you actually put together a drip account so it drips out the money.
Yeah.
And so basically, if I get paid for 6 months, then I'm just going to have that as my, and I'll just have a spreadsheet that keeps track of, okay, I got this money in, it goes for 6 months, so it has, it drips out this amount every month. And then it just gives me, okay, here's how much you're paying yourself every month out of the drip account. And that way I know, okay, this is the cash flow that I have, and I'm not taking the money out or spending the money before I actually have earned it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way I can just manage my income that way. But, in the meantime, it also, makes things tight, and it's going to make things tight as I ramp up. But
I if I were you, I would probably skip the VMworld too. Like, I would skip all of the stuff just because for now, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I think you're more likely to have problems if you go to that. I mean, you don't want to get yourself in a stuck situation. If you're at the point where you're like, I got to get my car working and sell it so I can go to this thing, you're pretty like, what that means to me is like, and what happens if your other vehicle breaks down, or what happens if one of your kids karate sidekicks the other kid in the kneecaps, right? Like,
oh my
you know what I
gosh,
mean? Like,
yeah.
it's just too, because then you could really set yourself up for trouble. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't imagine also that, like, there's not a guarantee that you're going to get sponsorship. It's like, but if you continue the work you're doing with the pipeline, that has a better chance, right? I think it's, I mean, it's a good, going to a conference like that, I think is probably a good speculative move to drone up some potential big business, but it's more of like a lottery ticket type of thing, whereas it's like a home run type of thing, whereas what you need right now is a lot of base hits, because you don't have enough, you can't afford the volatility of buying a lottery ticket and hoping that it hits. It's better to just like do the solid stuff that will work and have less risk. But once you get through this, then then you've got and then you can budget it actually, like you said, with the drip, and you can say, okay, well, I've got this much budgeted and allocated for travel and for conferences or whatever. And this way you're actually like cognizantly thinking about where to spend the money, as opposed to just opportunistically deciding, okay, well, here's this thing, I'm going to go to this thing. So
the flip side, I'm kind of weighing it out, because on one side it's like, if something happens in the short term, it's kind of going to be a mess. But in the long term, I mean, I need to be thinking, long term as well, and making sure that I'm, continually finding and drumming up business that way. But I mean, I see your point, and if I have a system that I'm sticking with, I can also see where there's a lot of potential that I can tap for the next several months. That anyway, so if I don't go, I'm still tapping all this other potential that's out there.
Exactly. You still have a well, and it's not dry, so use that well, right? You don't need to go to the conference, which is going to cost you money and doesn't guarantee you, right? The other thing you could do is you could look at, and you could say, of all the sponsors I've gotten in the past, how much money have I made from them? Like, rank them by order, and then try and track them down to source and see how many of them are from conferences. And if you're coming up with, if you're like, 90% of the revenue I've generated from sponsorship came from non-conference source, then conference is not a good justification of an expense to, I mean, you go, if you want to have fun, if you've got the money in the, but you just know in your head that this is not a profitable business activity, or you've got to find some way to make it to become one, but using tracking, so you can track that down. But it'd be interesting even just to get that statistic, just to take all of your sponsorships, all the money you've made from them, rank it by money, by the amount of gross revenue you've generated from sponsorships, so that who are the most valuable sponsors, and then track it to source. Like, where did you first contact them, or where did they contact you? How did they find you? And whatever that tree is, the most bountiful tree, keep shaking it. Shake it some more. Ninja sidekick that motherfucker.
Yeah, well, what's funny about that is that I can tell you that the majority of my sponsorship income has come off of people basically coming and filling in the form on my website.
Yeah, that would make sense. That makes sense, because those are the people that are like, they're looking for you.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the next is probably just having people from those companies on the show. And then, it turns out that we had somebody high enough up to, get marketing's attention or tell marketing to work with me, because it's a CEO or CTO, and then have that work out. I do have a few companies that I met at Microsoft Build that are fairly likely to come through within the next few weeks. Nice. So, I mean, that is a thing, and I didn't really go to conferences and think about drumming up sponsorships until at Build. I figured I may as well at least go see who was there, and upon talking to people, figured out, oh, hey, they're interested. I start talking to them about the podcasts, and they start talking to me about how they can publicize through the podcast. So,
yep.
So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm seeing there, and there are a lot of the larger companies that I've been reaching out to and either having not a lot of luck with, or different divisions of those companies that may also be interested in sponsoring that are going to be at VMworld. And so the conference is like 4 days, and I'm thinking about just driving down, spending one night in the hotel, going to the conference, meeting up with some of these people, because I've had 4 or 5 companies that want to do one-on-ones with me, with their CEO or somebody. And then, and then also just hit the expo floor for a day and then come home. And that way,
that's probably a good plan. Yeah.
Because then I'm minimizing what I'm spending. Because I've been looking online, and I can get a hotel room for like $15-16 plus resort fees. So it comes out to about $30 a night.
But then you have to buy a SIM card when you get there.
That's right.
That'll be another $300. So
yeah. But if I can do that, and then, meals and gas, I'm probably looking at $150-200 for the entire thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. See, that I like that. That's a good strategy. Just a one day, doesn't kill out of your time, doesn't cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you're pre-set up meetings with people. That makes sense to me. But yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing, is just going down on Tuesday or Wednesday and doing that. So.
What's your focus for the 12-month or the 12-month year?
So my goals are basically getting signups for the conferences. So I have specific numbers for each of the conferences, and then finishing my course, my Get a Job course. And then the other thing that I've been doing, and this is kind of interesting. So I had somebody contact me about doing affiliate promotions on the podcast, and I have open spots. So I'm like, okay, if I have open spots, I'm just gonna, promote them. So I think I wound up with affiliate deals for Loot Crate and Gamefly and Warby Parker, GoDaddy, a couple of others. Oh. And so FreshBooks.
Don't tell Derek you're going to promote GoDaddy.
Well, the funny thing is I'm probably not going to, because I landed Hover.com as a sponsor, and so I'm going to be promoting them on that sponsorship deal until hopefully forever. And if not, then I can drop GoDaddy in. But anyway, so I've just recorded sponsorship messages, and I just tell Eric to put them in, and that's worked out. Of course, I dropped like 6 or 7 new sponsorship recordings last week because of that. But then I've also had Wes Boss heard that I was having some financial cash crunch issues, and so I'm planning on promoting Angular Dev Summit to the Angular list. I'm going to email the JavaScript list next week about Angular Dev Summit one more time and just say, hey, look, if you're interested in this and you're not an Angular Adventures in Angular listener, go check it out. But I think this week I'm going to send out an email series promoting Wes's courses, because he said that he could expedite the payout. And then I've also been talking to Dave Thomas from Pragmatic Programmers. He's kind of.
I thought it was from Wendy's.
Yeah, I know, right? but
right.
he has an Elixir course,
Yeah.
and a lot of the Ruby community has been moving toward Elixir or checking out Elixir, and so he set me up as an affiliate for that, and so I'm
cool.
planning on setting that up as well and getting those running. Now, I don't know that those are necessarily going to pay off anytime soon. I mean, Wes said that he could, like you said, expedite the payout, but some of these others, I don't know if I'll get paid, for another month or so. But anyway, if I can get those to start, paying a certain amount every month, that would be nice as well, because it would diversify my income. But yeah.
So our experience with the affiliate stuff is that it's very hit or miss.
Yeah.
So we had a very hard time promoting other people's info products. What we've had a better time with is either like Pluralsight is killing it for us right now. And then
are you doing affiliate, or is that sponsored, or what?
Affiliate.
Yep.
And then
how do I get hooked up with that? Because that would be nice.
I think that you can just sign up, right?
Okay.
John?
Well, we might as well. We got the guy now. Let's send an intro, Josh, because maybe we can get a kickback too, like if he's interested in getting more affiliates on board. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that Pluralsight would be like we could be a first tier affiliate for their program.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pluralsight's working really well for us. So what I'm kind of doing, I'm just making a note real quick in Trello.
Well, Pluralsight is interesting to me too, because several of our guests and hosts are their authors. And the other thing is that their main office is like an hour and a half from here, and so I could actually drive up and meet them in Salt Lake or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
If they won't return your emails, just
you can also let your guests then promote their Pluralsight courses, and that's good because they just use your link. So
it seems like what's been working for us is like big established companies that are offering like a moderately low priced product. Like so Bluehost is one. They do the hosting, and they're very well established. If you look, there's going to be reviews for them, and they have they pay out pretty well. The amount of money that we make per sign up is high in proportion to the money that the person pays to Bluehost. Right. So it's like it might be like $1. Like it might be like $1 that it costs the person to sign up for the service or something. It's very, very low price, and we get a nice because they know what their customer lifetime value is.
Right.
So they're paying us to send them leads basically.
And we've been actually doing pretty good with Thrive themes as well lately. Like I said that this month, it's like $1 worth of revenue. So
so it seems like the software, and then like Pluralsight has worked really well. Yeah. We're gonna try. We've been trying some other stuff that just hasn't. I've been surprised at how difficult it is. So we're gonna try. Yeah. We have something like I have this one thing that we really want to promote. That's a really good product, and we've made one sale so far. We've been promoting it for several months, and we've made one sale. So I got him to give me like a discount code, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna try that and see if that helps at all. But I'm kind of looking now at the affiliate stuff as like I want to invest like maybe I'll invest enough time to put together 2 or 3 emails, and it's like throw it up against the wall, see if it sticks. If it has any traction at all, then we dig in and invest in it. But I'm not like wanting to spend a lot of time putting something complicated together until it's proven.
No, I get you there, and that's kind of what I'm looking at too. I mean, that's why I'm running these as sort of the trial or filler. And then the same thing on the list, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to send some emails about Wes's and Dave's courses this week, and we'll see how far we get. And then, I may promote them again later on. But yeah, if I can't figure out how to make them sell, then I'm probably better off spending my time somewhere else.
Yep. Oh, by the way, Josh, I got an idea. I think with the one that we want to promote, I think what might actually work best, we'll have to see, but when I get back, I could try recording just a demo of me logging into the system and
that's a good idea.
showing how it works and just saying how cool it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the best. I guess there's no reason to not say the name of it, right?
Yeah.
It's Interview Cake is what the name
of
it is. It's
we
interview.
We met Parker at MicroConf, and I took a look at this. I mean, like, I was floored with how cool what he put together is. And so far, we've just not gotten any traction with it. We've sent a bunch of traffic over there, and
is that an affiliate deal as well?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
It's one of those things, though. See, like, one of the reasons why we're killing it so much with Pluralsight is because I can so wholeheartedly recommend them, because I know that, like, I can absolutely attest, like, if you spend $30 a month on Pluralsight, like, it's the best freaking deal that you're going to get. Like, it's like every developer should have it. Like, it's like it's that much. So that's why I think, like, with Interview Cake, I think I could do the same thing. I just need to, like, go and record a demo. But with someone's info product, it's a lot more difficult, right? It's like, I can't I can't, and that's the thing, is like, you can't really push it that hard, because you can't, I don't know, you don't have the success story to be able to say. I mean, maybe if you find someone else that has a success story that could push it for you, that maybe that's the formula, is to say, oh, I used this thing, I went to this boot camp, I got a job making $90,000 a year. That would probably be, but for us to say, oh, this thing's really good, like, well, it's not from a personal firsthand experience, because you haven't used the thing and actually learned it. So it's harder to promote something like that.
Yeah, well, Pluralsight's just so well known too. Like, they're kind of the market leader at this point, so it's always easiest. That's always going to be a much easier sale than some guy who has a course.
Well, one other
if you
thing
think about it too. Okay.
One other thing that I'm looking at doing here is that Wes actually has some courses on some things that I want to learn. Yeah. And Elixir is another one of those areas that I want to pick up. And so what I'm planning on doing is actually going through some of the content and then basically writing up, hey, I took the course and then this is what I made with it.
See, that would work. And that's what I was about to say. Is like, if you look at it, like Pluralsight, I'm an author. I authored 55 courses, right? So, like, people are like, oh, I like John's stuff. Well, I did 55 courses for this company, so you'll probably like their stuff, right? So that's one. For like our Thrive themes, it's the same thing. That's what we're using for our site. We're making a lot of money with Simple Programmer. We have a successful site, so people are buying Thrive themes based on that, right? Bluehost, similar thing. Started out Simple Programmer. We used Bluehost for a while and a lot of our blogging, success stories come from people that use Bluehost. It's simple, it's cheap. So I think we've got the connection with those things. But anything that you try to promote that you haven't used or that you don't have that direct connection with, it's much, much harder. So.
Yes, absolutely.
And some of it is just a thing. Some of it's just a thing too, right? It's like I'm surprised how many people don't buy my book, The Complete Software Developer's Career Guide, like, for such a damn cheap price. It's crazy when you think about it, but it's like, you would think that 100% of the people on your email list would buy it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like what it seems like. But some of the things just don't. People don't care, so it just depends. So try it and see.
Yep. But yeah, so those are my business goals, is basically the sign-ups, finishing the course, a certain amount in affiliate sales, and then the other one is just filling all the sponsorship spots through the end of the year. And then my next 12-week year is going to be filling all the sponsorship spots through June.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah,
and then I've got some personal goals, losing weight and stuff like that.
The affiliate thing is great for you. You should definitely have 100% of your inventory filled with
Yeah.
that, right? Like, I don't know. We haven't even talked about that before. I can't believe it. But yeah, that makes so much sense. Because then the other thing too is it's a little harder to, like, people won't necessarily know how much of your inventory is sold versus, you're selling it to yourself essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically, when you're booked up solid like that, that puts you in a better position.
Yeah. Well, at this point, if people want to start sponsorships now for Angular, JavaScript, or Ruby, they have to go onto my Ruby story, my JavaScript story, and my Angular story, because the other shows are full.
Yeah. Nice.
And so, that helps too, because, I have people and it's like, well, we want to do the JavaScript one. And it's like, okay, well, you got to do my JavaScript story, which at this point is the second largest show because it's spun off of JavaScript Jabber and it has most of the subscribers still on it. But, it's, yeah. So you've got to pay for that one because the other one is gone.
Yep.
Nice.
So, or they have to wait a few months. But yeah, I'm sure I can fill those spots. I just need to talk to the right people.
Yep.
Anyway, it's been kind of an interesting week though, just because I had the big woe was me, and then I had the freak out, and then I took the 2 days off, and yeah, coming back was kind of hard because it's like, I don't know, just letting everything go was helpful, but at the same time it was, it was like, okay, well, I'm out of my rhythm, and now it's okay. I've got to make a plan, because otherwise I'm going to be running all over the place. Oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do this. I could do that. And so instead, I set up the goals like I talked about, but I have specific things that I'm doing this week, because you put your tactics down and then you decide which weeks you're going to do them. And so my tactics for this week are basically, lining things up for React Remote Conf, doing the marketing for Angular Remote Conf, and then, following up with people, reviewing some of these affiliate things, and that's all the time I have this week.
Yep.
And so next week I'm doing, some of the same things, but, some of the different things as well. So anyway, it just it's kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm also working on my course for a couple hours every week just so that I can steadily make progress on it. But yeah, it's that kind of thing. So some of these things, they don't show up until like week 5 or week 4. But that's okay. And if I start thinking about those things, yeah, I can just tell myself, no, that's week 3 or week 4.
Yeah.
And then I don't worry about it. And that way I don't freak out about not getting everything done right away.
No, that's the way to do it. I mean, that's that whole, like, you come up with the plan and then you follow the plan. And then all you have to do is follow the plan. It's like,
Yep.
I need to get back into that habit as far as like checking stats and checking email and all of that stuff, because I realize so much time gets wasted, all that stuff, and it's like I only really need to know the numbers at the end of the month, and so it's a similar mindset.
What makes that well, for me especially, what makes that difficult is that I go through periods where it's really important for me to check the numbers, and that's where I get sucked back into it. Right?
Exactly.
Like during the book launch, I kind of had to be in my email inbox all day because there were a lot of things going on. I had to be aware of everything that was going on. I had to, I had to keep my finger on the pulse of all this different stuff. And then you have to be like, then I get into that habit. And then,
exactly.
And then it's hard. Then you have to go through the withdrawal again. So.
Yeah, and that's one other thing that I need to figure out is just which numbers to care about. Because, I have numbers off of YouTube, and I have numbers off of, Google Analytics and, the email and everything else. And yeah, I need to just decide what matters and what doesn't matter.
We have so many numbers that it's at the point where you kind of have to just you have to kind of set your goals first, and then you can work your way back from those and ignore everything else, because we officially have way more now than I can ever keep track of, even if I check everything every day.
To be honest, if you really think about it, most of it doesn't matter, because even though it quote matters, it doesn't affect change in you, right? So like if you look at the sales numbers, like let's take our exact, like our sales number on our product. I mean, the only effect of looking at the sales number that we're likely to take is to be disenchanted and melancholy, right? Like that's the only thing. It's only a bad effect, right? Like we're not likely to look at it and do something different, right? It's like we're still going to do the things that we're doing. It's sort of like, I think of it as like running a 200-meter dash and looking at your stopwatch while you're going, and it's like, well, you know what? if you just run as fast as yeah, exactly. If you just run as fast as you can, then the time, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to achieve the best possible time that you could. If you stop and look at the stopwatch while you're trying to run, the only thing that can happen is that you can mess up, right? So most things in business are like that, right? Not everything. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're running an advertising campaign, you're A/B testing things, or like you're doing a launch and you've got to, but most things, your effort is better spent just increasing the effort rather than if you need to figure out if you're going the wrong direction, sure, but most of the time it's more, do you need to push on the accelerator more, and the answer is yes. Like looking at the stat will tell you yes, you need to push on the accelerator more, but also just pushing on the accelerator more is just a good strategy, right? And it takes less time. So that's but I mean, it's so much easier said than done, because I say this at the same time that I'm a hypocrite that can't follow this advice, right? Because we're all addicted to the the stat checking and the email checking, all that stuff. So
I think your point is well made, that if you're not going to change anything by looking at the stats, then why does it matter? If it's just going to get you to push on the accelerator, then again. But if you're looking at the stats and you're saying, you know what, this product is selling really well, maybe if we give it a little bit more marketing or something like that. I mean, that's where I see the value. And so for me, the value is, am I reaching my goals? And then, am I,
but
what do I need to change?
What you just said, I totally agree with, except that go back in history and say, when have I ever done this? On the analytics. And the answer is never. Right? Because logically, what you said theoretically makes perfect sense. Oh, this product's selling more, so maybe we should market this more or sell it more. But do we ever actually do that? I mean, not really. Like it's like we don't use that data to actually. So if you are going to, then but it's almost like you have to know. Like it's sort of like I wrote a debugging chapter in the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide, and one of the things I said was like, never use the debugger. Like basically use it to test hypothesis. It's like before the art of debugging is to come up with a hypothesis and then to go into the debugger or writing a test or do so. When you go into the executor, you're debugging. You're looking to answer yes, this is true, or yes, this or no, this is not true. And it's the same thing with analytics. I think it's to say, before you even look at analytics, you should be asking a question, right? And if you don't have a question that the analytics are going to give you an answer to, then you got no business, right? Otherwise, you're kind of like someone debugging code that's just like looking at, oh, that's that variable looks like it's wrong, right? And so you're coming up with the reasoning, after seeing the data. You need to come up with the hypothesis. It's like being a scientist that's interpreting the data rather than testing a hypothesis. And that's I think that's where we go wrong, is we think we're going to use the data, but nah.
Yeah, the only other way that I've used the data that makes sense to me is when I set one of these goals, I can go back and look at historical data and say, where am I at?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to be
collecting
as much data as possible, and then that way you have options later if you do need to come back and see. But
exactly, because there's been plenty of times where we've actually asked questions, and then we've had the data to answer the question, and then that makes that's a lot more valuable, right?
I need to do something similar to you, Chuck. I kind of need to figure out, like, now that the book launch is basically done, we're kind of wrapping up the cleanup for that. I really need to figure out like what the next big thing is. And actually, I sat down with our financials at the end of last month and looked through the income sources, and I was like, okay, what are the biggest levers here? And the two biggest ones that jumped out to me were Pluralsight and sponsorships. So
Yeah.
probably those are where I need to focus my efforts next. But I have to get excited about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got to start getting ready for my next thing.
Okay.
We're already over our time, but
Should we do our thoughts and then wrap up? Let's see if I can find a Palestra.
una palestra. Yeah.
John's gonna become a street workout guy. It's like,
Yeah. There we go.
I know. I'm totally going to be doing bodyweight exercises again today if it's.
Yeah. But yeah. So one of my thoughts, and I was listening to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind again today, and he says a couple of different things, and they all kind of connect, and this is kind of where my brain is at today. So one is that your inner world creates your outer world, and so the things that you've internalized and the person that you become and the things that you're learning and then thinking about and and activating, so you're actually out acting on them, those are the things that then manifest into the external world. And so and then he also says later in the book, which I'm probably going to get to again later on, is that if you know a thing, then you do the thing, you live the thing. And so for me, both in my spiritual life and in my personal life and in my family life, if I know a thing, like deeply know a thing, then I'm going to act on it, I'm going to do it. And so, a lot of times I find myself just kind of coasting in one area of my life or another. And I know that there are true principles there, and I'm not acting on them because I haven't deeply ingrained that and come to really deeply know it. And so it's basically then becomes, okay, how do I bring truth in? How do I internalize it to the point where I know it, and so then I'm doing it, and my internal world changes in ways that manifest into my external world, if that makes sense. And so there's this entire feedback system that comes in and makes things better. And yeah, I guess I went a little bit deep there, but at the same time, I mean, that's really the core of what I'm trying to do here. Is I'm not just trying to fix this by doing a whole bunch of frantic movement. I'm trying to do the things that are going to solve the short-term problems, sure, but at the same time, I'm trying to change who I am and change the truths that I act upon, so that longer term, it just becomes a natural thing for me to do the right thing, so that I don't have these problems anymore.
Yep, makes total sense. Totally agree. Trying to think. I think I'm going to go back. I'm listening to reading a book on the history of philosophy by William Durant. He's a really good historian, and I'm getting introduced to a few different philosophers I hadn't known too much about. But there was one a Jewish philosopher that got excommunicated called Spinoza, and he had said an interesting quote. I don't remember the exact quote. I think William Durant maybe translated it and paraphrased it, but it was something along the lines of, "We don't hate those who we could easily conquer," and or I think that's what it was.
Interesting.
And so I thought that was interesting. I mean, it might have been like that we could easily win over, or like that win a competition against, or I can't remember. I think it was easily conquer, or that I can't remember the exact phrasing. But essentially, the point that was being conveyed was that if someone's not a challenge to you, you don't hate them, right? If they're so. I was thinking about that in terms of a couple of things. Like I did a response. I finally did a video on the Google Manifesto this week, and one of the things.
Oh boy!
One of the things I said. I mean, I gave my opinion on it, but then one of the things that I said was that, like, don't hate women and minorities because of this. That's stupid. Like that's ultimately what Google has kind of when people do this, well-meaning people on the far leftist side, and they push diversity down people's throats, they end up creating more hatred because they make what do we call it when people become extreme religious extremists? They
Zealots?
zealotized. Yeah, but there's a radicalize. They radicalize. They radicalize redneck Bob. Redneck Bob goes from I'm not sure if I like these Indian guys to I hate those Indian guys. You know what I mean? Like that's what ends up happening is they become radicalized, and that's not good. And but so it's kind of like, but it kind of comes down to also just you see that and you have this gut reaction. You're like, man, this is like so screwed up. Like I can't believe that that people would do this, and these people and these leftists and these feminazis and all this stuff. Like they're just like destroying the world, and you can become really agitated and really like you can generate in yourself a lot of hatred just because of that, because it's so wrong, right? This sense of justice being so wrong, and the world is definitely out of whack, and there's a lot of injustice that's like you can be frustrating, but if you remember, like, I mean, you're better than these people, right? So like you're out there doing something, you're building a business, you're working hard, like you have the value that they don't have, that hard work and discipline and courage and speaking the truth and following the truth are important values, and you're living your life the right way. So who cares if some hippie liberals think that they need to shove diversity down people's throat or fire people for speaking the truth, or that they need to quell the first free speech. Let them think that. Let them do whatever they're going to do. You just do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to, because you're greater than they are, because your principles and your ideals and the way you're living your life and your mindset is greater, you are able to conquer them. So if you hate them, right, if you let it agitate you, if you let it become a thing, not that you can't have an opinion on it, but if you let it absorb your life so much that you generate hatred within yourself because of it, and it makes you bitter, well, then you are taking the weaker position, right? Like if you realize that you're greater, that you're more powerful, that you can conquer this foe, then you don't have any hate. It's amusing what they're doing, right? And so I think that's kind of a better mindset to have, is like, if you know that the path that you're choosing is right, if you know that discipline and hard work and justice wins the day, and virtue and principle is what we should strive for, then you don't need to worry about these people. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's kind of something that I realized in the clickbait, because I can fall into it, myself. Like I can read the media and I can get upset and I can be like, just walking around with a chip on my shoulder all day, or I can realize I'm greater than that. I'm better than that. So I can laugh this off and just think, okay, these people don't know, but that's fine. They don't know what they're doing. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about.
Cool. Well, I had so for over the weekend, just watching what I mentioned with Zach getting hurt, my youngest. That was really, really tough for me, because he's really energetic. He started walking at 9 months. He's been moving around since he was like 4 or 5 months old. He climbed out of his crib at like 12 months. So he's like really, really energetic and aggressive and just all over the place doing stuff. And to see him not able to like crawl around, and he was like crawling around, like, and it was limp crawling.
Oh no!
So it's really hard for me to watch. And my wife said that she said it's pretty funny, because like we were both pretty worried at the water park, trying to keep them so safe, and like and then like in our own living room, right, like he didn't end up breaking anything, but he could have had his legs fractured, just like a freak thing. So you really can't be so preoccupied about like trying to play it safe all the time. Like, you have to take risks, and you don't want to be stupid, but you just never know. I mean, stuff happens in the weirdest places. So don't try to build an impenetrable fortress around yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll see you guys again in 4 days.
All right. See ya.
Hopefully we'll all be able to make it.
Yep.
Right.
Ci vediamo.
Right. Ciao.
Wanna start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the Entre Programmers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.